Well, just VIN marketing. Show. Are you talking about lot links?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, just being able to take a dealer's budget and be able to spread it to the cars that need it the most, that aren't being seen online, because um, oftentimes they'll go top heavy on popular
Mm-hmm.
cars that have a lot of interest and a lot of clicks.
Correct. Okay.
Hmm. I've definitely enjoyed their marketing and seeing the breakdown of new and used car demand and the way they've been doing it through their email campaigns.
Hmm.
That's been good to follow. I've actually used some of it in a board meeting.
With like their data and stuff.
Yeah, just trying to explain to our board, like, here's the situation in the industry right now.
Mhm.
We have some people invested in Frickin' Tech who aren't in the car business, so we have to
Oh, right.
break things down for them.
Mm.
Yep.
That's always fun.
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, actually, it is fun for sure because they drive past dealerships and they're like, "Where are the cars?" Or they're getting fooled into thinking they've got a lot of new cars or something, but it's really just all used cars on the front line. And they're just driving by. They're seeing things out of the corner of their eye. They're not paying attention to that Subaru store. It's got a bunch of Fords on the front line all of a sudden.
Mhm.
So yeah, so it's a little eye opening. Another interesting one in all of that is like the car business, um, outside of the dealer side, but the OEMs and the vendor side in particular probably went through the kind of a recessionary type period for the last 2 years,
Mhm.
and now the other tech companies and manufacturing companies and all are starting to feel that. So it's like that's this side of the car business is coming out of it right now, and
Mm-hmm.
the dealer side might be going into it. But so anyway, it is fun having the conversations outside of the car business and educating the ones who are from other industries.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I sit on planes, which is every week, I always someone wants to chat me up. Oh, what do you do? And once I say car business, it's always been like that. People loved it. They got a story, but it,
You're going to get cut off in 3 seconds. So
stories of
yep, cut off. There we
Ralph
go.
just
Yep.
Yeah, no, but people's perception of the car business now is significantly different. So people have a lot of questions about what that inventory is, what it's going to be, when is it going to change? You know, people that aren't in the business anyway.
Yeah.
Just like
So
the
when
real
to
estate
when is a
business.
good time to buy a car is a question I'm getting asked a lot these days.
Never, just lease it.
It has to say
Not
limited.
right now, though.
Well, some manufacturers are starting to come out with better leases, or they'll have a car like the Cherokee right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you certainly have to keep your eyes open now. But yeah, I think, I tell all salespeople, I know you guys have been sort of not really wanting to focus on leasing because they feel like they haven't been good enough. But I would reverse the mentality, because we need to have customers come back, and we're about to turn a corner where all those people that paid 5K, 10K over MSRP are going to, try to get into a new car, and we're going to have a whole new issue coming up. I want to get people into leases. That's what I want to do, because it guarantees that they're not going to be buried in that car. I can keep them as a customer. I can keep the referrals coming in, growing my business. And they'll say, yeah, but the payments are so high. I would say, well, you need to bring up the value. And when you thought you were going to extend the finance term to get them into a better payment, you need to be thinking strong and hard about that mentality you're putting out there with the customer. I would rather you go sell them on getting into a higher payment so they can get out of that car. What if they don't even like the car? Now you're buried in it for 10
Great
years.
point.
A lot of people bought the car that they could get, not the car they wanted.
That's
Do you, Jennifer,
and
do you do dedicated consulting for dealerships that want to focus on increasing their lease penetration?
I mean, it's not like a topic I'm going in there to consult
Uh,
on. A topic that comes up in my sales training classes when we're talking about not losing deals.
gotcha.
Mhm.
Hey, Jen, we got a request from the audience. Can you scoot over so they can see that awesome piece of art behind you?
Oh, maybe I should turn my camera. How do I do
There you
it?
go. Yeah, that is so cool, by the way.
That was cool.
It's got a lot. You need a few drinks to look at this one. There's a lot of action.
Well, since I assume you probably haven't had a few drinks yet, it's like it is. It's a snow day, right? Or the kids are home from school, and
It's our home from
so
school
I
today.
wouldn't blame you if you had. But
Yeah.
but I did want to talk about something you did recently, if you don't mind.
Let's hear it.
Well, you shared how you got started in the car business on LinkedIn to last week or the week before.
Yes, a very popular post.
Yeah, I was very impressed reading through it, and
Yeah.
I think it's very telling of where your tenacity comes from,
Hmm.
why you're so hot on the phones, um, and what makes you who you are and why you teach the way you do. And
Hmm.
do you mind sharing a little bit of your background? And if
Hmm.
you want to start your dealership days, go right ahead, or go further back from there. It's totally up to you.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can tell you, what led me to the car business, and it was I grew up upper middle class. I had a great life, and I think that sometimes it's not really pictured that way for a lot of and until I did this report on alcoholism when I was 13, and that's when I realized my mother was an alcoholic. She drank every day, but she was functional. My mom was a very hard worker. She was a go getter. I watched my mom get her master's, her doctorate. She was in education. She took me to University of San Francisco on weekends, stayed in the dorms. I went with her on classes, internationally. Growing up, my mom would pull me out of school. They had a second house in Tahoe. I had a good life, but my mom progressively got worse as a drinker in my life, and it was a major problem for me. It was a big adversity in my life and everything that came with it. And it got increasingly more crazy where my mom became homeless. My mom lost everything of ours. Everything in my entire life. The rug was pulled out from under me. And actually, if I correlate the upbringing, having things, having nice things, having opportunities to experience the world, cultures, um, skiing, I mean, mountain life, city life, all sorts of stuff. Um, I wanted that back. And the rug was pulled out from under me in my high school years. And it was embarrassing for me because I lived in these neighborhoods and I couldn't afford shit. And as it became worse, fast forward, I finally get into college. I'm already been selling cars. I'll come back to that. But I'm now going to a private school. I'm there to be a car dealer. And this is all car dealer kids. They don't know this. I never even said this before, but it was so hard for me to keep up being used to a lifestyle. My parents were gone at that point. Once I had finally got accepted into Northwood University in the automotive program, which I had to pay for, by the way, it was tough because I had nothing. I didn't even have a car. I couldn't even afford clothes. My parents didn't give me any money. They weren't even there. My mom was in jail. I had to get a job.
Ish.
And I had to make money to maintain the lifestyle and the status and that I hid from everybody. They would never believe, Jen was broke. I busted my ass. I double majored. I had friggin' jobs. I sold cars. I worked at Express. I mean, just to keep up.
Wow.
And And I'll never do that again. I can tell you that was one of that's a moment I've reflected back in time and trying to keep up with other people and racing to have name brands and freaking nice shit. But I'll tell you, I work so hard today because I want that life. I want that life. When you lose something, it's like, when you try to do the takeaway on the car deal, they're like, no, girl, you know what? I'll pay more. I'll take that. And then, okay, well, I'll find a way to get that back. So I can tell you that my hustle hard mentality to date, I've been broke in my life multiple times. I have struggled with an extraordinary amount of adversity, and it continues. It's almost like a plague. But the fight becomes easier because you get beat down so many times. Those blows don't hurt as bad, and as sad as that is, the blows for me is losing out on opportunities today, not getting the deal, somebody feeling like they're going to cancels. It's hard for me to not take them personally because I freaking bust my ass every day on the content that people are subscribing to, but that it's been a journey. But I got into selling cars when I was 18. I'm leaving high school. Shit's exploded in my household. There is no one to lean in on. Just a bunch of crazy shit. And I am 30 days away. I have no car. I have no home. I have no family. And it is sink or swim. And my fate is about to be met, and I get a job selling cars at a big Toyota store. I mean, it's 40 dudes and me, and they are seasoned, and no one's trying to help me. And I think this is where a lot of my passion to get up every morning at 4 a.m. and bang out a new class. I mean, I write classes every single week. My content is so relevant. I'm in stores Wednesday to Friday. I am working alongside the front line with leadership and revisiting culture process. I'm contacting working customers. I'm making sure my stuff is tight. And I love it because I want to see people thrive and succeed. When I was in there with 40 dudes and no one wanted to help me, I just needed to make money. I just needed to sell a car and I couldn't catch up. And I stayed inside and I worked the phone because nobody wanted to stay inside. And that's how I made my money. And I did a lot of remote deliveries. I mean, we're talking remote deliveries, since COVID, but that was my thing. I wanted to get the freak out of the store. People were on drugs. I was scared. I was scared of not being able to make my money, but also scared that these people were, they were grown men and I was this little girl, and I felt like I was getting hustled hard. And anyway, a lot there to unpack, but I had to crush the phones and I did. And it's become a foundation for my entire career. It was certainly a great foundation for me, to learn from. Easy jobs, they're easy. Hard jobs, they lay the foundation for what you can do, and you can do hard things. You're going to have to go through fears. You're going to have to go through, smackdowns in order to see what you're capable of and what you can accomplish, which are all in sync with defining your next chapter. And you got to have a next chapter. Was that too much?
No, it's overcome the adversity.
Yeah.
What you mentioned, you gravitated towards the phones. Was there any training? Did you find any self-training? Maybe, how did you navigate through that and turn it into such a success?
It was a lot of it was survival skills. It was testing out stuff. I remember trying to just get people to call me back, and I couldn't understand why people didn't call me back. So what I did is I started recording myself. And I don't think they had call recording back then, but
Jen, you're going to have to expose what years you're talking about here, because I know you don't want to, but
yeah, this is oh my God, this is so old. This is 94.
Okay.
Yeah. And I started recording myself on a recorder to see what I sounded like and I was like, what the freak? Wouldn't call me back. I was like a high pitched bird, and I just sounded weak, So then I started messing with my voice, which I've become very good at. It's allowed me even to become a podcaster today. I said, all right, yeah, okay, I got to get louder on the phone, and I'm going to have to mess with the fluctuation of the voice to make it sound a little more interesting. And then I started getting callbacks. Then I realized, if I looked at myself while I was on the phone, I I could see like
Energy.
yeah, a vibe, I was gonna say. Yeah. And I needed that. That was my next thing. I was like, okay, wow, if I just stare at myself in the mirror.
Yeah. I mean, people can hear a smile.
It's
Hmm.
so true. It sounds so basic. But it's true. I mean, people can tell you're smiling. That's so like even fast forward today. I'm like, look, you're sitting in this BDC or you're sitting in your chair. You sound like you're sitting in your chair. I mean, I'm sitting in a chair
Stand
right
up.
now. It's very unusual for me. I am typically standing up and I stand up all day. I very rarely sit down because it
I
brings a level of energy.
Yeah. Anytime I would have make a phone call like that, I would always we had well at the dealership had a cordless phone, and I would take that phone and I would take it upstairs where there was no one around, and I would make all my phone calls basically standing up. I don't know what it was. It just felt more comfortable. The words come out better. You can
Faster.
push that energy
Mhm.
through the phone. Yeah, definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, the other thing I do now is I chew gum. I'm not chewing gum now, but
Mm.
typically chew gum, and I have
My
been.
dad would reach through the phone and slap you. He like can't stand that sound.
That's how I usually have gum in my mouth, and people think it's rude, or I've been criticized for it, but frankly, it's part of what it takes for me to be on my A game.
Gum.
The level I think very fast. I have to problem solve very fast. And because I'm typically in a room of, a ton of people that are listening to me, and I'm making a ton of points, and, I want people to connect with the content. And, when you have, let's see, in my class this week at NADA Academy, I think I have probably 40 people. So you're going to try to go in there, for a half day, they don't know you. 40 people, you got to get them on board, and you got to get them on board fast. And if you're not on board, they're going to make your lives miserable for the next 4 hours, because they're going to test your cred, they're going to test your knowledge, they're going to challenge you. And that very rarely happens to me at this point, and that took a lot of time and experience to get there. It's just like customers today in the showroom. If they don't see you as confident, knowledgeable, that you care, that you have the right questions, that you know your business 100% inside and out, they're going to cheat. You're on a hit list.
Yep.
So what does the gum do?
I don't know. It makes me think faster.
Because you're just automatically
I can't.
microtasking, or
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I'm sure there's something scientific to that. But and maybe I just brainwashed myself over the years. I don't know. But the gum thing, I feel like lost if I don't have the gum.
you ever get the what's the gum called? It's a nootropic gum. You should
I was
check
gonna.
that out. Give you a little bit of buzz while you're chewing as well.
Okay, I don't think I need a buzz. I'll tell you, people are always like, "What the
Well,
hell is this?"
it's not. Yeah, it's more of a. It's not a buzz, but
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know. I live
but
in Denver. Everybody's buzzed.
True. Just happens when you walk outside.
Yeah, no, really though.
Everyone's literally high because you have altitude, right? That's what you're talking about.
yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Hmm. So, all right. Thank you for sharing the background. That it was.
Great story.
I knew it because I read your LinkedIn posts, and like Drew said a moment ago, after reading that story for me, I got to echo what he said in his comment a moment ago. Is that I like you more now. It's
Why
you're
is
so much more real, and the story is just
It's a great
yeah.
story.
was I never real? What
You
did you think
okay?
before?
Okay, come on now.
Why does
You
that
know
make
what I
you think?
mean.
No, I don't. And I'm curious because people say this to me now, and I
Hmm,
think, and I want to know, like, because I don't think I've
okay.
ever changed. I'm an open book always. Part of my internal therapy.
All right. Well, how try this on. Let's see if
Okay.
this fits. So I have not known you to be unsuccessful. I have
Hmm.
only ever known you in your successful days.
Huh.
So, uh, and never really knew as far as background goes, Jim. It's just been we've always talked about snowboarding or our kids, and never talked about our past. Um,
Yeah. When does that fit
so
into the conversation?
yeah, the past just really helps to tell somebody who you are and why you act the way you do, why you're passionate about the things you are, and that's
Yeah.
why you're more real, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
I get what
Yeah.
you're saying.
So
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's wonderful to hear.
You've
And that's
always you've always
you know.
been successful. You've always exuded a ton of confidence. So when you hear that someone went through such adversity at, during a younger age or teen years and such, i- it's just natural to think, oh, you know, they've had all these challenges. There's no way they had that many challenges growing up whenever they're
Mm,
so successful and confident, which typically it's actually the opposite a lot of times.
hmm,
that's how I've always seen it, Jeff, is that I've only known dealers. They've been my clients for years. And I tell you, not the new generation, but growing up, you know, in the car business, any owner I've ever met for most of my career had a huge adversity
Hmm.
um, life journey. I mean, that was the common thread. And I was
Yeah.
actually always afraid to be successful, and I was always afraid to be wealthy
Hmm.
because I saw what a lot of people went through in order to get to this status. And then once they got there, what I experienced um, was sadness.
Mm. Yeah.
And I relate
I've
to that.
only found that with successful people who have passed their prime and they've realized that, and now
Mm,
they're on the back end and they're having a tough time, like maybe finding the next hill to climb, or uh, they're just finding failures now because
mm,
they can't do what they used to do. And this
mhm,
isn't totally related to the car business. This is anything. This could be a former athlete. This could be
mhm.
just, but theory. I don't know if that's the case, but that's when you said that. That's what popped in my mind. There were some people I've known along the way where in their older lives they were more resentful and crotchety.
That's-
Ooh,
I'm
that's very
40.
nice.
I'm 47. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and Bill Vaughn's right. Yeah, we're getting deep today.
What are we talking about?
I think we're supposed to be talking about the car business, but yeah. So I want to jump in a little further on the phone side, and let's
Okay.
bring this back to the car business.
All right.
You know, I think anybody, and you more so for a number of reasons, but anybody who started on the sales floor has probably not gotten a lot of training, um,
Mm,
and and I think even veteran people fear the phone. Um,
definitely.
So yeah, so what got you past it? Was it just sheer need, or was there something about it that you liked?
Mhm.
You know, what how'd
I
you
can
get
tell
there?
I can tell you where, obviously based on what I'm shared with you so far, it was survival. It was my only needs. I couldn't catch up. And I made a lot of money off that phone. That's how I bought that's how I became top tier, was bringing in my own business. Then I got excited about it. And in time, this whole thing evolved. It became internet leads. And I became
Mhm.
really good at working internet leads, which, was the phone. And fast forward to today, I'm doing service to sales calls. I'm prospecting the database. Those cars that are coming in, I'm finding them a home. It's incoming sales calls. It's internet leads still. It's just follow up. It's a lot of calls. If you can't, how are you going to depend on walk-in traffic in order for you to be your best self? If you're going to be in sales, freaking be in sales. You know what I mean? Get in there and be a killer. Be the best you can be. I don't know why you would want to be just average when you can be the best. And it's really not a monetary thing. It's just about being great at something, especially your carved out career path. One thing I always say is, like, if you can crush something like in the car business, you are capable of a lot of different jobs out there, because this 100% is very difficult. No one ever liked a car salesman. No one ever liked going to a car dealership. So you already got that adversity against you. You have to work at overcoming. So you need to get people to trust and feel confident in you. And it's a lot easier for me to do that in 2 minutes than it is to try and, butter you up in person. It's go time on a phone call. And I like to cut to the chase, and so the phones become something that became more of who I am. It's just it's easier for me to connect, to bring something of value to the table. It's easier for me to figure out where you're at in your journey, and so that way when you come in, we could save you an hour right off the top. And I'm into saving time. I don't like people hanging out in the store for longer than they need to. It's not necessary, and then they get mad, and then there's bad surveys and everything else that comes with it. You've got to build that relationship on the phone, and when they come in, you're picking up where you left off, and you have better opportunity of pleasing people, because you can do things unexpectedly. You can have a car ready for them. You could have reviewed their online deal prior to them coming in. You can repeat it back to them and build trust, immediately. Like, hey, I'm here's where we're at. Here's what you did online. I'm going to pick up where we left off. Just we save you time. I got my guy in place. He's evaluating your car right now. He's just double checking your photos. But I can sell an experience. I can sell a service versus me, with a walk-in. I gotta do all this stuff it's just I can do it in 5 minutes on a phone call.
It's funny you say that. Um, I know both Jeff and I were kind of handed the keyboards and said, "Hey, you got these internet lead things. And, y'all are young. You can type. Can you like do something with them?"
You can fix the printer.
Yeah, you can fix the printer. um, but now that you say it, I'm realizing that the people I worked online and on the phone before they came in, they were so much easier to work in person. It was faster. It
Totally.
was,
You already have an
yeah.
established
Huh.
relationship.
Hmm.
Yeah, I always thought it was way easier.
Yep. Hmm. So we sold you today as
Uh-huh.
someone who's going to tell people how to make a high income in a tough market.
Mhm. Mhm.
I got a
Some gold
feeling you're going to
nuggets.
talk about the phones somewhere in here.
Yeah.
What's that?
What, was Jeff going to say something?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I can target the phones. Anybody who wants to ask me questions, go for it. Um, I'll tell you, one of the biggest challenges that I would say salespeople don't realize is that you're going to have to go back to the basics of selling. And some people that came into the job in the last 2 years, they probably don't know what the basics of selling even means. And so I would say start with an open mind here, because if I'm going to work the phones, I also need to be prepared. And I want to be confident. I want to be knowledgeable. So I need to know my product. And in the past, we didn't need to know the product because they were calling up. You got it. You got it. Yeah, I'll come and get it. Okay, write it up. That's not the basics of selling. The basics of selling is connecting with people and building trust and confidence in people. You know, if you got to be a knowledgeable source about your product, how are you going to sell your product if you don't even know anything about your product? You need to know your inventory. If you don't know your inventory, how are you going to sell your inventory? I'm in switch car mode. Every day I'm in switch car mode because the payment is a very big issue and it's not going to change this year. So you could, hang out, shoot the shit for 2 hours. You're on the wrong friggin' car. You could have been on the phone setting appointments, bringing more people in. Like you have to recognize, the time management is so critical here. So I need to know what I got in my inventory. I'm a best friends with used car manager. I know exactly what cars are available today. I'm going out there. I care to run through these features, see if they match up on the listing, see if there's something like extra. Let me look at those service records. I need to go above and beyond to know what my switch cars are, because when it comes down to me spending time 2 hours with somebody on the wrong car because I didn't ask the right questions, I'll come back to that. And I'm, oh yeah, they love me. That's all great. But if when they get those numbers, the likelihood of them saying, oh, that's too much for me, is a high probability. It was always this way, by the way. It was a little different the last couple of years, but the thing is they're not going to like the payment. And if they're trying to make a lateral move from a 19 Cherokee to a 23 Cherokee, that payment went up. And it went up significantly. Most stores I go into would say it's on average $250 to $300 a month. I was in a luxury store a few weeks ago. Every car was $400 minimum. Had gone up. And so we already know that we're contending with that. So you do need to step back and say to yourself, all right, how am I going to make money in this place? I need to start with having a more relevant process on these phone calls. So I'll give you a quick example. A lot of times people, and if you guys want to chat in too, what you're doing right now, let me help you with your strategy. A lot of times people will lose control of the call. They let the customer just take over when most people don't really know what they want. Most people are looking for something that either good news, you have that exact vehicle, and that's not who I'm talking about because that's the easy one. You know what to do. But if you don't have that car, you can't be like, no, I don't have that car. 8 out of 10 salespeople will tell them, no, I don't have it. No, it was sold yesterday. I don't know. I don't know if I have it. Let me poke around. And then it's a lot of clicking.
You know what I'm thinking as a customer when that's happening?
Who cares?
Because that happens to me when I've called. I'm sitting here thinking, I could be on your website doing this myself. I don't need you to do this for me.
Okay. So I don't need to be clicking away, looking cars up. You should know your inventory. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I never took the approach of caring if we had the car in stock. It was just the opportunity to ask questions and find out what they liked about the car. Why were they looking at that car?
That's right.
So then I can start thinking, okay, if I don't have this vehicle in stock, wonder what else they're looking for. What else can I sell? I tell you, dealers or salespeople have really, especially over the past couple of years, you could probably go into a dealership, a large percentage of dealerships right now, and teach a course just on how to switch the customer.
Totally.
Because I mean, even at my dealership, it's not even consideration so many times.
Yeah.
You don't have the car. Okay. Mark inactive.
Hey, here's a crazy one for you from last week. We had Jason Rice on. And Jason's just looking at used car leads in the dealer CRMs.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember what percentage of active leads were on cars that had already been sold?
It was a high percentage.
It's huge.
That is a
It was
reminder
over
you have to change the
80%.
process. You have to change the process. So look, let me give you some gold. Instead of telling people, no, I don't have it, you need to take Jeff's advice. It doesn't matter if you don't have it or you don't have it. Ask the right questions. But some people be like, oh, well, we're clear and transparent. Yeah, I know. You can be clear and transparent, but you can also be strategic in making sure that you make money. Okay. Because that customer, even if you don't have it, they are literally probably looking at 3 other brands. You didn't ask them the right question. So let's take it from the top. I answer the phone. Thank you for holding. This is Jen. Who am I speaking with? Don't get held up on my questions, because that's not really I'm throwing something out there. You could ask them any question, except I don't ask them, how can I help you? I don't say that, because I already know they want price and availability. I'm not trying to get in the lion's den. Hello. I need you to fall in love first. Okay. So I said, are you looking for a car you can't get? That's what the caller says, right? I'm looking for a car you can't get and you can't order. And I'm like, well, let me find out what I can do. Let's find out. Yeah, do you guys have a car that you can't get and you can't order? Psh, let's find out. Okay, now it's done. Tell me about the features you were looking for in that vehicle. And they're going to be like, oh, I'm looking for the panoramic sunroof. I'm looking for the little climate, package, weather package. This and that. I say, okay. Yeah. What else are you comparing it to? Are you looking at other
Great
brands?
question.
Inside models. Okay, so you're looking at a mid-size SUV. Are you looking also at a full-size SUV? I don't freaking care. Just ask questions that make sense. Not, if I could get you into a pre-owned car at a lower payment, would you consider that? I'm like, what the hell? You just met me. I don't think so. I'm on to you. Okay. Give
It
me
sounds like what was that training course? Travinger?
Traver?
Traver. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was always, you got a pen handy, I'll wait. And yeah. Yep.
Though really there were some basic stuff in there. A lot of that stuff's, many of those things would still work today because it was just basic. It was just probing the customer, asking questions, getting the receipts.
Because I work the East Coast, so these people don't have time. So you can't play playing friggin' games. Okay. So they need to make questions make sense. So I work in the hardest of areas, and I design my strategies around that. And so when I go to nicer areas, I always thought, oh, this is like a dream. Yeah, the people always respond, because the nicer the people are, the easier your job's going to be, especially if you got the right questions. You got to be prepared for the worst of the worst, though, because
you start in New Jersey.
I mean, I work the East Coast. I'm all over the East Coast.
So I'm thinking Boston. I'm thinking Jersey.
Those are easier areas.
Oh, what's the hard one?
You ready?
Yeah, what's the hard one?
This is just IMO, okay? But it's Long Island.
Okay. Yeah, okay. New York.
No. It's not
just
New York.
Long Island specifically. All right.
Just Long Island.
Okay.
Long Island is not like New York. I work in New York. I mean, this is a very unique spot. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, though, I always say this, people want to be respected. People don't, they want to make sure that you know what the freak you're talking about. So it's very important to establish that cred right up front. So I say, hey, I'm welcoming it. Yeah. Do you guys have this car? Let me find out. Yeah. How long have you been looking? My friends, that's another piece of gold that's going to make you money this year. You need to ask this question. How long have you been looking? Because if they're like, oh, I just started, you're going to have to do a market awareness, conversation. They're probably going to ghost you anyway. But I need to ask them how long they've been searching, because that's going to be part of my setup to show them multiple vehicle options. Mm-hmm. Hey, look, I know, Jeff, you've been looking for 2 months. You're worn out. I've got something. I've got a few other matches too, and I'm going to show you everything because I value your time, and I just want to make sure that you get all your options in front of you so you make a good decision. I'm going to show you every vehicle you could take home today. I'm going to show you every vehicle that's coming in that's a match. I'm going to show you what you can order. And I know you need something right away because you've been looking for 2 months. So I'm going to show you, I've got a match for you. I need to bring something of value to the table, which is another piece of gold. You need to bring bring something to the table because you're on a hit list, and they're going to call other people. They're going to change their minds. They're going to look at other cars. They're going to change preferences. It's just going to happen. The other thing that you got to ask people is you need to add, this is critical to your success. And I'm giving you my top 5 right now, and I'm non-negotiables on these. Yeah. You have to say, have you found a vehicle like this yet? You know?
Do you use that tone?
What?
Do you use that tone?
Yeah. Yeah, I get a little wild and crazy on it. I say, hey, yeah.
So what was the question again? Have you found
a vehicle like this in your search so far? And they're going to say, no, that's why I'm freaking talking to you. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. If you haven't found that vehicle, it's another setup to be able to show them more than one vehicle option. You need to
a lot of times you ask those qualifying questions knowing what the answer is going to be just to get them to say yes.
I mean, why not ask questions that that benefit you? That's part of, you need to have some strategy. If you're really going to sell cars, you got to ask the right questions. If you're depending on the phone, cold calls, then you need to have a strategy. I mean, look, referrals are becoming a little bit easier, it's designed to be. People that are asking for you, that already did business with you. I mean, you worked for that. But if you are cold calling or taking cold sales calls, you got a lot of work.
What's your current definition of a cold call?
You don't know them, they don't know you. They're not even, so if I'm outbound prospecting, they may not even be in the market. So these could be people that I know are going to be in the market in the next year. They never bought a car from me. I don't know them. It could be people that are in the service department. They never bought a car from that store, but they've been servicing their car, and it looks like they're a target. They've been spending money. Mm-hmm. I'm targeting them. Yeah. But I would say, it's a cold call in the regards of they don't know you. I don't know them when they call in.
I'm with you. Do you curious if you take a different approach whenever you're working with high-end dealerships versus, your more average? Shouldn't say average.
Depends on if it's on Long Island or not.
Non-luxury store.
Well, that falls into the question.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question and a very good one. I've never been asked that
maybe
question.
You do it, don't even maybe you actually change things up and you don't even realize it.
I don't change a whole lot up because people are people. Whether you have money, you don't have money, it doesn't matter, how I'm going to treat you. I still have limited inventory. The chances are I don't have that car. It's a 50-50. A lot of the calls coming in right now is because you have that car, but there's plenty of people where, like Jason Rice said, that car is gone, even though it's still online, so.
What's your approach? Someone calls in on a specific vehicle, it's been sold. Mm-hmm. It's been sold.
Great question.
You don't want to lie to the customer, but again, what's your typical approach with that? Okay. Because to me, again, I would always assume that the vehicle was in stock no matter what. Even if I know we sold it yesterday, I still had the opportunity to build some type of relationship, ask Jeff's the questions. Yes.
So look, we're talking about making money today. And I know that what I'm giving you feels very simple, but I'll tell you, I work with enough salespeople to tell you, you have an opportunity to make more money than anybody else right now because people are weak as shit on the phone. They don't have a problem. People know all day long. So all we need to do is come up with a snapback that gets them back on board. And boom, you've got some of the, these quick firing off questions, so you're never at a loss. There's no dead space. I don't want to put people on hold. I should know my inventory. I want to be able to snap back and say, so you're looking at these brands, or you saw this car, if I don't have the car that they're looking for, I'm asking these questions, but I'm eventually going to hopefully open the door of possibilities up. I'd rather you set the appointment, Jeff. I just set the appointment and call back and ask for forgiveness. So I've got every car. This is why I don't look cars up. So I'm just going to be like asking them, hey, what features are you looking for? You're comparing it to other vehicles. Have you found a vehicle like this in your search? What's your time frame look like? Stuff like this. And I'm going to say, all right, so how far are you from me? And they're like, oh, I'm 20 minutes. And I'm going to be like, well, look, what are you doing right now? Cause I've got some options I'm going to show you. I'm going to go on and set the appointment. Now, maybe I buy myself a little more time. Hey, what's your day look like today? What are you doing after 5? And I'm going to do my homework. I'm going to set the appointment. I'm going to call them back. And then I'm going to be like, hey, we're a clear and transparent store. I just want to make, like we have a ton of great reviews because, we do people solid. And, we've been here for over 50 years. So I just don't want to play games with you. I found 5 vehicles that match the features you're looking for. I know you're kind of open-minded. You've been looking around for a long time. So I wanted to find you as many options as I could. I also wanted to make sure that you knew that car that you were looking at is sold. I didn't want to disappoint you, but I found out 5 others, 3 others, 2 others, whatever. And when you come in, I'm going to show them to you. I'm going to get you an up-to-date value on your vehicle. So I would rather, that's kind of long-winded, but I want to put some more context to it because we need to understand that I'm not being shady. I'm being strategic. And most
you got cut off. What was your last sentence?
No, most people are going to change their mind anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep thinking about all my experiences since I became a civilian, calling into stores. And here in Vermont, I think the dealerships have a little bit of advantage because there's not, one Subaru dealer, one Ford store, not a lot of competition. But the man, if somebody had done that to me, I probably would have bid. I definitely would have scheduled the appointment.
Why not?
Especially if you came at me and was like, I know you're open-minded.
Oh, yes.
What am I going to say? Oh, my God.
Oh, you've been looking for 2 months.
Yeah.
What ties back to asking the right questions.
Yeah.
And you got to bring something to the table, So when I take calls, I realize that I have 2.5 seconds for you to get on board with me. So I'm not going to be a typical sounding person because I need a pop. I need to be memorable. The people have to hear me and be like, that chick, that's the one. That's
that lady's batshit crazy. I like her.
So how does that start? It starts with how you answer that phone call. So, when I answer the call, it's sincere. I'm like, Alex, thank you so much for calling me back. I'm so glad I was able to connect with you today. I saw you were online. You were doing some research on our site. I want to help you. I know it's been a tough market out there. So tell me about your research. What have you been looking at? That's an internet lead that called me back. I'm not talking about a car I don't have. I'm not talking about a car even if I do have it. I'm going to give them the great news here in a second if that's the one. But I'm going to first fish. I'm a hunter. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, I'm looking at SUVs. And I say, okay, have you driven anything yet? Have you been behind the wheel? Have you seen anything? What were the features, that you were looking for? So what are you driving now? What's going on with your cars? And I'm living up to your expectations. They want to find out if they have a car, they don't have a car, they're coming off a lease, they're going to tell you. It's an important question. And
have you built any process around, once you have the customer on the phone, do you do anything with text or email, as maybe just an initial follow-up, or, maybe if you're talking about 3 or 4 different switch cars, are you going to send them information via email or text on those particular vehicles? Or are you just going to, since you've got the appointment, you're just going to let that ride? I'm not going to follow up with anything else. I'll wait until the customer comes in.
I'm so excited to answer this. All right. Look, I am not hanging up this phone call until you have my contact info it's landed. Like it's not even I'm going to wait till after I hang up the phone. I'm going to do it right now. I wait for a moment. I wait like a kitty cat on prey over here. I'm like, wait for the moment. I'm like, okay, Alex is down and I are gelling. Okay. Yeah, Alex is definitely like, okay. I'm like, Alex, look, I'm going to send you my contact info. I want you to have my direct contact info. I am here for you. Did you get it? Did you get my text? Just let me know when it comes over. Let me take an email for you too. That way I'm going to send you I'm going to send you a couple things via email here later today. You at work right now? No? Okay. Go ahead and spell that for me. Yeah, because that's the incoming call now. Got to get the email, right? Because I'm going to send them maybe like an info packet or a thank you. Actually, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send them a thank you for your time today. I'm a professional. I'm going to be asking for all the money, and I'm going to deserve all the money. I send them a video.
Slide that in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I never teach people to discount. You deserve, the money, but you don't want people coming back and thinking that they're going to work you over. And even the best of us, the people try to work you over, but you're trying to mitigate it. You're trying to reduce, just like you're trying to reduce the risk of them coming at you. I mean, they might ask you once, okay, that's enough. Thank you. Goodbye. Shut this down.
Do you really think that when you can offer that type of service to the customer and you're taking that approach, that it really mitigates on the customer or the opportunity for that customer, or even the possibility that the customer would go after a discount?
I think that you have a vibe. This is about knowing your product, knowing your brand. Let me go back to what I just said earlier. You need to go into these calls prepared. You need a game plan. You're not winging it. I'm not winging it. If you're winging it, you're not dead serious about making money. You need to have played these scenarios out. They're the same objections. That every objection that comes your path, you write it down, you role play that scenario until you can snap back with confidence how this needs to go forward. You can't be weak. You have 5 minutes to crush this game. So you need to know your product, you need to know your brand, and you need to know your process in order to get to the end result. Yes, yes, I do believe that you can mitigate it, because the way that you are perceived, the way that you set the foundation for how people perceive you, is totally up to you. How can I help you? Let me look that up. I'm not sure if that's here. You're weak as shit. You don't know your inventory? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's go.
Let's go.
I think that's the clip right there. A real short one. Yep.
If you want to make money, you need to have a game plan with everything that you do. I mean, if you want to be seen as the one, you had to have fought for that. You got to care. You got to nurture your process. And the objections. Everyone, oh, what are your rates? You're like, oh, it depends on this and your credit. Like, that's no. That's not going to work. What are your rates? What have you seen out there? We're competitive. We deal with every lender. You use a credit union, you have a certain bank you bank with. Let me see if I work with them. We can honor whatever rate, you qualify for, but let's look at payments. Have you looked at payments?
Like I'm a payment shopper. You mentioned earlier that you're at the dealerships Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Sounds like you sort of stick to the East Coast. Is that, I'm just curious, is that a majority of what you're doing currently? Because I also know you provide like a ton of online resources, a ton of, I guess, online training modules that dealerships can subscribe to.
Yeah. I mean, I work all over the place. Believe me, I have plenty of customers in California. I'm in Texas. I just have the majority of my in-person clients in the East Coast. But yeah, my main product isn't even that. I mean, the main things that I'm doing is I'm teaching. I have subscribers. It's called Level Up Now. It's once a week, Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern. It's 1 hour. I do it's a whole mashup of stuff. It's a power session. It's out of control. If anyone that's listening wants to attend any free classes, I will let you join on me and you could get a sense. I bring in guest speakers. We had Glenn Lundy on. We've had Ali Rita on. We've had other sales trainers on. I'm looking to bring the very best content to this group of people, but they're learning from me, but they go nuts on the chat. It's highly engaging. We do a lot of role plays, a list of calls, do a lot of coaching, do a lot of contests. I give away a lot of money. But that's why I get up every day and I'm writing a new class. The
That's great.
fresh
That's fantastic.
content. Mhm.
Very
And
awesome.
not that, but I got into service pretty. I mean, it's 50-50 now if I'm doing sales or I'm doing
Oh,
service.
really? Okay.
Yeah. 50% of my business is service training. And it's not like typical service training. I'm doing it based on culture and what that customer experience looks like so that they can get another line item. At the end of the day, it's the same concept. I want to connect with people. I want to have the right questions. I want to build the right sales process so that way I can maximize my ticket.
Yeah, there's
A lot of money left on the table.
Well,
So
so many service writers are just like trying to upsell a cabin air filter, and the next 5,000-mile oil change when your oil change is actually in 10,000 miles. It's instead of selling the right thing at the right time.
Well, it goes back to, once again, like I was just saying with salespeople, and look, some people don't set appointments. That's some dealerships are walk-ins, and that's few and far between. For people that do have appointments coming in, you can do your homework on people, and you have to do your homework on people before they come in. You need to look at decline service, because if you don't bring up the decline service from the jump on the drive, you're sus. You're already sus. These people don't want to be here. It's costing them time and money. So if you don't bring back what they declined, you're already you're not building trust and confidence, the core fundamentals here, right? It's the same thing. I need to check for parts. Don't let these people come in on appointments when you don't have the parts and you don't have loaners and everything else that goes with it. You're just going to have a really mad and angry customer over a very minimal probable job. Some people will think they're long-term customers. If I don't have loaners set up and they're in an older car, I want them to be in a loaner. I want them to go away because we're going to have a lot of work possibility on this car. It's just I need to have done my homework instead of just waiting until they're standing in front of you.
God, that's especially true now. That the average age of cars on the road is the oldest it's ever been in American history.
Yeah, there's a lot of service bills too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are. You start looking at that $3,500 service bill, and all of a sudden that $1,200 a month car payment kind of like, well, maybe.
That's right. That's how I put deals together. Service is such a huge thing. People really hung on to those cars. So, this is another tip. Let me go back to the sales process real quick. I got two more strategies for you. One's called fast fingers. Take a stab at it. What do you think that means?
Text.
Text them. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, wait. It looks like Bill Vaughn's getting a lot out of this today.
Fast fingers. What's fast fingers? Sticky fingers?
No. They call in. You're on the phone and you're planned. You got your questions, your inventory. You just boom, 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 boom. And over here, your fast fingers looking up their phone number because the gold's in the system. And a lot of these dealerships have very loyal customers. So you better check that database and see if they're already in there, because you got your questions and you're like, ooh, there's Alex. Ooh, okay, Alex bought 2 cars. Okay, boom, 1 click, service. Ooh, look at all those service bills. Ooh. I'm like, let's go. I get so excited. I can see the deal. I can see the pain point. Which goes back to some of those questions we talked about earlier. What's going on with your car? What's got you in the market? These are important questions. But if I can already see that this customer's bought twice from us, this never happens on calls. Okay. This never happens. But immediately I can say, so remember, I'm back to the process and I'm like, yeah, so what kind of features are you looking for? And they're telling me, and I'm like, hey, I just want to stop you for a second, Alex. And I just want you to know, I know you bought your 19 from us. I know you bought your 16 from us. You still driving the 19? How's that car working out?
People love that.
Expectations. You are a preferred client. You are on the top of my priority list. I want you to know we're going to take care of you. You're VIP here. I'm always going to make sure you get first priority on everything that we do over here. And we're going to get the most value for your car. I'm over here looking at your service records. Ooh, looks like I see you've been in here quite a bit this year. Okay, let's talk about that. Let me see if I can stop bleeding for you today. But that's also going to add a lot of value to your car. So I know you put some money into your car this year, but I'm going to make sure my pre-owned manager does not skip that piece of information, because that's just going to help you get the most for that car with us.
Seems so easy. People suck that shit up. Rightfully so. I mean, I would. Why
Mhm.
not?
I, that's what we want. We want to feel appreciated, valued. We want to feel wanted. We want to feel welcomed. And that's how I choose my sales process of those 4 words. So look, if I can come in and it's what I call the loyalty play, giving you all sorts of good stuff here, but this is how you make money today. You have to look to connect with people. You have to look to build relationships with people. And if it's already in the friggin' system, what are you doing? Don't waste time. Go get it. Use it. You know, you don't have
Mhm.
to go nuts, but you just need to make people feel welcomed, welcome back. Anyway, um, these are still things when it comes down to the numbers and they're like, oh, that's too high. I already, have pulled their Carfax. When I looked at the Carfax, I made the effort to look at the Carfax because they might not have been servicing in your dealership. They could have gone to outside services. They could have gone to other dealerships. I want to see, what have they done on this car? And if I know, and I need to be a knowledgeable salesperson today, this is how I want to make money. If I know what people have done to their car or have a general idea of what is coming up and how much it's going to cost, tires, brakes, stuff like this, I need to know, regular scheduled maintenance. I need to know what a 30K or 37K or whatever your interval is. I need to know how much these services cost. And I need to be able to tally this stuff up in my head, because the payment's too high. And you need to find $200 to $300. That's what you need to do. So it could be in service. It could be one click away. The other part to that, I feel like I'm going over in time, but I just, it's all coming to me. Is that I need to be making sure that 2 things happen on every client visit today. They need to hear from you the passion that you have for the brand, which means you have to do a walk around, and you need to give features with buyer benefits, with everything that you choose to say. And if you ask the right questions on the phone, what were the features that you are, really wanting? Was there something missing on your current car? All these basic things. Then I know how to demo them. Oh, I can't wait to show you. I got all the heated package stuff on, the wheel and the seats and everything. Everything's all ready for you. Like listen and react accordingly. The other part is that you got to get people behind the wheel. We got away from that during COVID. And you need to get them in there. They need to fall in love with the scent. It's a thing. The scent is a thing. It's a very attractive when people smell good. That car smells good.
It's a
And
woman
that car
thing.
scent nicer than the one they're driving now. So
Make them
Pheromones.
fall in love.
Well, I have one more question. Which energy drink company are you endorsed by, or do you prefer?
I know people say this all the time. I don't know. It goes back to this. I can only correlate it back to this. I love people. I love process. I love making money. I see where the failures exist, and I can't wait to help somebody navigate around it, because it's not necessary. Somebody knows more than you do, which is why we all need a mentor. Then friggin' help somebody, and I'm in there. I see this. I listen to more calls than the average person. I can pinpoint where you make money.
So look, I don't know. There was a comment that popped up. So you just helped somebody, Bill Vaughn. So a little earlier in the show, he popped a comment up and said he's going to ask a customer, what kind of rates are you seeing? And let's see how it goes. He just responded and said it worked. They just responded back with a little over 7% APR.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to be right there, competitive. We're right there. I'll show you. We're a clear and transparent store. I'm going to show you all the numbers. I want to have the cars ready for you before you get here. Move it forward.
If some people want some more of Jennifer Suzuki and
how could you not?
Dealer Solutions, and I know, how could you not? What's the best way to reach out to you? What's your website? What's the credentials?
Mm-hmm. Well, eDealer Solutions is the website. You can always hit me up on social media. That's really the best thing to do, is just send me a direct message. Put my cell phone in here, but I don't know how to chat on here. Guess.
You could throw it up on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, and the comment will come through.
Yeah. I'll throw it over in the forums, because right now once this is done, the copy is automatically posted over on DealerRefresh. So I can add some more information. I'll make sure I get a link over to your
Speaking of
e-dealer
that, weren't you going to
courses.
give Jen a little shit about DealerRefresh?
What I do.
Oh, yeah. I had that pulled up yesterday. I was just like, you hadn't logged into the forums since 2006. You joined in 2009, but hadn't logged back in since 2016.
I've got two excuses. The first one is I still get your email.
Neither one of them will be good enough.
See, did you see that I still get your newsletter? I didn't unsubscribe. I get all your emails, and I always read them, and I see the highlights, and I think, oh, okay, I know what I need to know. The other part, and this is the truth, I stay so committed to what I'm doing every day. You're not going to see me on Clubhouse. I went down that road. It's good. It's great.
Yeah,
I've
you
got
were
a
doing that for a while.
I've got a podcast called Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki, and that's where I shifted my Clubhouse time to, which is designed to support our community, and that's what I can do. I'm traveling Wednesday to Friday. I got 3 kids, and
By the way, I'm a listener. I especially, and I'm pretty sure Drew Ament would agree, really like the Ender Asani episode.
Oh, yes, he's from my hometown.
Good man.
Yes, technician, very good guy. Yes,
And what's the name of the podcast? And if people want to subscribe to it, what's the easiest way?
Yeah, just go to Spotify, iTunes, whatever. It's on everything. But it's called Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki. If you subscribe to it, then you'll get my notifications when I post every week. And I do classes for sales, a lot of leadership for owners and executives and managers, aspiring leaders, and I do a lot of service classes. And I honestly, I tell people this all the time, and my salespeople hate this because I literally publish everything that people pay me big bucks for. My goal is always the same.
I'm supposed to do that.
Succeed.
Yeah, but not many people can put it together without getting the whole package.
You always hope that, right?
Yeah. I think it's true.
Most can't. Yeah.
I mean, it goes back to when we started. Well, at least when I started getting on DealerRefresh, my boss at the time was really upset about me sharing some things,
sharing information,
and then Jeff, you said, man, like maybe 2% will actually try and do something, and half of that might pull it off.
Yeah.
Yep. That's usually the case.
I need to get back in there. I'm at the NADA Academy, doing so much stuff, and
we'll let it slide.
Yeah, it's not like you're busy.
It goes in phases, though, where I'm like, all right, I'll come back, and I need to do homework. That's actually the best source to figure out what people are doing, what products are good, what's new, what's the challenge. Looking into people's, back and forth over, vendors, and it's all designed to help support people. So I'm a fan. I should spend more time in it, and
we get it. I get it. I understand. Well, Jen, I tell you, it's always a pleasure, and you always drop some gold nuggets for us. We'll have this posted over in the forums. I'll make sure there's a direct link over to your e-dealer courses. I'm just curious for myself, do you have like a full package of all of them? Is that the level up now?
Yeah.
Package? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And just, insider secret, I just came up with I just am releasing an app probably in the next 2 weeks, which is like TikTok for salespeople and service advisors. I'm releasing service advisors first, but it's my tip of the day. It's a lot of contests and a lot of fun stuff, but it's designed to be able to give advisors and salespeople very quick hitting tips like today in 60 seconds. One little one at a time every day.
Nice.
Very cool. That's the average attention span of people anymore.
So you don't have one of those little daily calendar, Gen calendar things. You rip the thing off and there's today's tip.
That's very old
and for
school.
calendars.
You're going to need an app for that. Oh, I have one.
Perfect.
Yep. Well, Jen, we look forward to having you on again. And
Me too.
hopefully we've given you enough break from the girls today.
Yeah, they got that whole express over here. They're like, "Where's the food at?" Oh, okay, I'll be there. I got to go be a slave now.
Yeah. The wonders.
It's
of
all right to be
parenting.
a slave for your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right, Jen.
Well,
thank you so
for
much.
sharing and God, everything today, Jen.
Once again,
Yep.
it's a really pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
See y'all later.